Hi, welcome to Delicious and Light. I'm Dina D'Ambrosi, and today we're going to be making cornbread cake. I came across this recipe several months ago, and somebody gave me the full recipe, and it's delicious, but it was super rich with a lot of butter in it, a lot of oil in it, and I said, I can make this a lot lighter with a lot less calories and a lot less fat. So I explored a little bit, and I think I figured it out. So the reason why it's called cornbread cake instead of cornbread is you'll see it has a lot of flour in it, and it bakes more like a cake than a cornbread, but it still has that delicious cornmeal flavor to it, and it's pretty sweet. So the first thing you want to do is take an 8x8 baking sheet and spray it with cooking spray, and then just set it aside. You also want to be preheating your oven to 350 degrees. So we'll just set that aside, and I already have the oven preheating. So this recipe is going to serve 10 people, about 10 people. So the other thing you want to do next is get out low-fat, low-cal butter spread, and you're going to take 1/3 of a cup of this and put it in a microwave-safe bowl and just melt it for about 30 seconds. So let me get that going while we get the other ingredients going. And you'll see there's a lot of ingredients in this recipe, so you don't have to remember all these measurements and all these ingredients. We have this on the deliciouslight.com website for the measurements, so you don't have to be writing it down. So I'm just going to pop this in the microwave for 30 seconds, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I have my melted butter. So as with many classic recipes, cake recipes, you're going to put your wet ingredients in one bowl, your dry ingredients in another, and then we're just going to stir the two together when they're done. So I've got the melted butter, so I'm just going to let that sit for a couple minutes and cool. It got a little warm from the microwave. And then I'm going to start with my dry ingredients. So you want to put in 1/2 cup of cornmeal, and then just put that in a separate bowl. You want to get 1.5 cups of flour and add that to the cornmeal. There's 1 cup and 1/2. Put that in. Your next thing is you want to do 3/4 cup of sugar. Put in 1/2 there and 1/4. All right, and you're going to use 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Put that in there, and this is going to sound strange, but it makes it like a cake-like consistency. You're going to put in a tablespoon of baking powder. Usually you see with a lot of pancakes and other things you cook with like this, you put in a teaspoon. This takes a whole tablespoon. And one last ingredient, you want to get sugar-free, fat-free pudding mix. And this helps it be moist, and so you don't have to use as much fat in your recipe. So that's it, pudding mix. And from here, I always like to whisk my ingredients together, my dry ingredients, so they're nice and mixed in. And that's it. I'll put that on the side. Alright, and for the wet ingredients, you want to do 1/2 cup of egg substitute and 1 1/4 cup of buttermilk. I'm just going to add 1 1/4 cup in there and add that to the melted butter. The last ingredient you want to do is 2 tablespoons of honey. We'll just put 2 tablespoons of honey in there, add a little sweetness, and the honey actually, besides being sweet, gives it a nice depth of flavor. I love cooking with honey and molasses. They really add a lot of flavor to whatever you're baking with. Alright, so we got our honey in there. And then the last thing is you just want to mix the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. And this is really more like a stir. So just stir that together and add it to your dry ingredients. And you're really just looking to make this a moist batter. So we're just going to stir this around. You don't need to mix it in a mixer at all. It doesn't have to be beat. You're just really stirring it around. I also changed this to use buttermilk, again, to add a depth of flavor. So don't forget to follow us on Facebook, also on the website at deliciouslight.com. You can subscribe by putting your email address in there, and you'll get updates every time there's a new video posted. So you just want to add this to your baking dish. Scrape all that out. Spread it a little bit, and this is going to bake for 45 minutes until it's slightly brown and beginning to crack. So that's it. I'm just going to put this in the oven for 45 minutes, and I'll catch you back when it's all done. All right, welcome back. It's been about 45 minutes, and this cornbread cake is done. So as you can see, it's lightly browned, and it started to crack a little. And when I insert a toothpick, it comes out clean. So this is super hot. I'm going to set this down on the stove, and let's see if I can take a little bite out of this without completely burning myself. Got to be able to taste it, make sure that it's good before I serve it to family and friends. All right. See, inside it's very cake-like consistency instead of a rough cornbread. It's also super hot, so I'm going to be very careful. That's delicious. It's moist and fluffy. It's sweet. It's like my perfect kind of cornbread. I hope you enjoy this as much as I do. Until next time, thanks.